Hi, friends. Welcome back. As I shared with you before, I spent like 32 years in corporate America, right? And honestly, I'm grateful for every one of those years. I worked with some really incredibly smart people and had some really great managers. I was a high performer, and especially in the early years when I was learning and growing, I really worked hard, uh, great performance reviews and all that. Made really good money. Looking back, I really did enjoy my career. But if you ask me now, hey Rob, what's the biggest lesson those 32 years taught you? Well, it wouldn't be about leadership. It wouldn't be about technology. It definitely wouldn't be about office politics because I hated that. It would be this. I never believed that my company was my true security. And what's funny is this, I didn't learn that after 32 years. I actually learned it even before my career started. Let me explain. I was still in college, right? And I got an internship and I landed an internship with IBM. Back then, uh, IBM was the place to work. It's like landing a job with like Google or Microsoft, right? I couldn't believe it that I landed a job there, and I remember feeling excited about that just to be there. It felt prestigious, and to be honest, I felt really good about that. One afternoon, I was having lunch with with a group of the engineers that were there. They weren't just new employees; they had been working together for 20, maybe even 30 years. And I remember we were sitting around that table, and then I remember uh, they were talking, and one of the guys said, "Oh, wait, your son is already in college now?" And then another guy was like, "Oh man, I didn't even know you had like three kids." And I remember just sitting there because I was just sitting there, quietly, and I was thinking, how can you work beside someone for 30 years and barely even know them or their family? But there was something else. During that internship, I noticed that they were pretty much like doing the same things over and over again at their work for such a long time. And I remember thinking, man, I don't want to stop growing and just keep doing the same old work and not really like exploring and expanding my knowledge. And looking back, that time that I was there, it planted a seed that I'll never forget, right? Fast forward a few years later, I graduated from college and I actually got recruited into a business in network marketing arena. It's, if you haven't heard of it, it's a business that involves direct selling, right? Someone recruited me, right? And this company, other network marketing companies, but this one dealt with vitamins and potions and lotions. There's so many of them, right? And the gist of the marketing is like going through friends and family and your network and presentations, making lists and all of that. And whether or not you agree with that business or not or like it, there was one thing that I kept hearing when I was there during all of their gatherings and um, pep rallies and even amongst the network of my upline and all that, over and over again, they kept drilling in your head that nobody cares more about your financial future than you do. At the time, I didn't fully appreciate that, but somehow those two experiences kind of came together, right? You've got IBM and what I saw there, and the network marketing, and I made a quiet decision then that I would never depend on one company for my future. Well, fast forward years later, probably like my second main job that I was in, I moved into management for a small and very fast growing company. It surprised me how quickly my career progressed such a short amount of time. I remember switching companies for higher pay and more opportunities, and I was getting promoted and and all of that. I was learning. I was younger then, and I was already involved in side businesses too, and they were teaching me the side businesses was teaching me because I was forcing myself to. I improved my communication skills, leadership. I was forced to do marketing and sales, and because of all that, my confidence kept growing as I was developing these skills for the sake of my, side businesses, like I said. Looking back, I honestly think learning all the sales through my side businesses really helped me communicate better as a manager and as a worker and all that. And I think all those things really made me stand out from the other people that were like in my level. And inadvertently, it made me more valuable in my day job. One day, I remember my boss called me into his office and he told me, "Hey, there's someone in my team because I was the manager. Someone in my team had to be let go, fired." And he said, "Hey, Rob, you're going to be the one who's going to tell him." And I remember walking back into my office. I didn't even know what to say or how I was going to say it, right? And I really didn't want to do that because this person wasn't just another employee. We worked together, right? He was in my team. We laughed together. I built a relationship with him. I got to know him. I remember his son was at the same age as my middle son, so we had that in common. Well, Friday came, right? And I rehearsed that conversation in my head over and over again. And I took him to the side. I said, "Hey, can you meet me in the conference room?" Right? Because we were in cubicles and all that. And I told him, "Hey, I'm really sorry to say this, but today is your last day." And I still remember that look on his face. You see, in technology, we don't give people like 2 weeks or something. For security reasons, when you tell them they have to go, they have to just go immediately. Well, driving home that day, I kept replaying that conversation over and over again in my head. And you know what? It's not like I was angry. I mean, I was calm and I wasn't emotional about it. Um, I wasn't blaming the company. I couldn't stop thinking that that could have been me, right? And that's when it really hit me that good people can lose good jobs. It's not because they're bad people, not because the company is evil or something, because it's just sometimes a business it's just business, right? And that day didn't make me cynical, right? It really made me intentional. It made me realize something that my employer was responsible for the company's future, right? Only I was responsible for my future, right here. The buck stops here. You see, when you're working for someone else, you're working for their dreams. But when you're doing things for yourself, it's for your own dreams, right? Whether you ever start your own business or not, that's fine, but don't ever stop building your own future. And guess what? You can do both at the same time, right? It's okay to work on your future and be happily employed elsewhere, right? That's fine. So I made a decision that every paycheck that I got had another job. Okay. Sure, one part of that paycheck was to pay the bills and other things, but the other part was to buy options. What I mean by that is it could be like investing in, let's say, index funds, right? Um, Sometimes it added up and I was able to buy like another rental property. Sometimes it was to like participate in a training seminar or or to buy a sales course or for marketing for one of my businesses or whatever, building certain communication skills, networking, I mean like negotiating, and there was internet marketing that started exploding back then, and I remember other opportunities came with affiliate marketing that I ended up investing in some of that as well. So what I'm saying is that some of those in portions of that paycheck, I made sure that they also grew for me in other ways, not just for the bills and all that. Now, not everything made me money, but every single one of those extra dollars made me more valuable as a person. So, looking back, some people say that, oh, I'm retiring early and all that, and I'm lucky and it was because of or one or two investments. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. Freedom, from my experience, it wasn't built on just one lucky happenstance or one decision that I made. It was really built one paycheck at a time, one book that I've learned from, one book after another, one skill that I built one after another, because I wasn't born with anything in my advantage, right? I built and clawed my way up after 30 something years, right? So if I could sit down with my 25-year-old self today, I wouldn't tell him to start looking for a better company and just go chase after the paychecks. I would tell him this: learn things that nobody can take away from you. Build assets that will keep working while you're sleeping. You know, always stay curious. Keep growing because companies will change, technology will change, markets will change. I mean, like look what's going on with AI, right? AI will change jobs and it's going to keep changing. We are seeing it already. You see, true security comes from the skills that you build and the person those skills will help you become. No one can take that away from you. And if you will become the kind of person who can create value anywhere, guess what? You'll never have to depend on any one company or boss or anything to build the life that you really want. Looking back at that young, reserved, introverted intern sitting in that IBM cafeteria, I had no idea that the one ordinary little lunch would just quietly shape me in my outlook for the next 32 years of his life. And it taught me something that I'll never forget. My my company could give me a paycheck, but only I could build my future. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next chapter.